Guilty Gear Strive Season 3 closed off strong with the introduction of Slayer, and with Slayer came a ton of people complaining about Slayer. This character on release was extremely polarizing due to the absurd amounts of damage that he did and the hyper obnoxious pressure that he had. Now that we're in Season 4, they didn't change a lot of that. They only really made his health a little bit lower, but lucky for you guys, I am your guy. In the second episode of F This Move, I will be showing you guys how to deal with one of Slayer's most polarizing parts of his kit, the Dandy Step. This move right here, Dandy Step. That's what we're going to be talking about, guys. Okay, so if you like content like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Did I hit all three? Probably. And leave a comment down below letting me know what move you'd love to see me break down for you next. With that all being said, let's get into it. So here's what you must understand about Dandy Step. First and foremost, there are two versions of it, right? You have the one that moves him forward and the one that kind of moves him back. Out of these two versions, he then has 4 follow-ups, okay? He has Pile Bunker, this high, this low, and Master's Hammer. The thing that makes this pressure so obnoxious specifically is that this high and this low are both 13 frames, which means that there's actually no way that you can fuzzy this move. And if you guys don't know what a fuzzy is, it's essentially you delaying your between low and high on moves that don't exactly hit on the same frame. Say for example, if his low hit on frame 15 and his high hit on frame 13, then you'd be able to sit, like, realistically speaking, block high and then go straight low 2 frames after. That of course is pretty hard, but with proper timing you could theoretically always block that move. But because they both land on frame 13, it really is an unreactable guess. And of course, I think the most jarring part of his kit is in fact Master's Hammer. This move is very obnoxious to deal with. It crosses up, it's hard to anti-air, it's plus on block. It is absolutely absurd. And so here's how I'm going to essentially break down dealing with these moves. I'm going to break it down into 3 parts. First, we're going to be talking about him pressuring you in the corner and how you can deal with specifically his high, his low, and his Pile Bunker. Next, I'll be talking about specifically Master's Hammer and how you can deal with that move. And then finally, I will go over some mid-screen options that you need to be aware of, as well as some defensive techniques that you can do specifically in when you're mid-screen. So this situation has probably happened to you a lot. You're in the corner, and I currently have Slayer set to do his high and his low randomly, right? So he'll either go high or he'll go low, right? Now, one important thing to understand about the sequence is that there is no way that he's actually able to lock you into blocking these unless you block Boo Wild Assault. What do I mean by that? So, say for example, he goes either direction. I could just realistically hold up back and never really have to deal with it, right? Now, it does come with some caveats, like he's currently going high a lot, but if he goes low, he entirely whiffs, right? It does come with some caveats, but essentially, I can avoid the situation altogether if I just hold high, low, up, back. I keep doing that. I don't know, whatever. Another thing you could do is that if you know that he's doing the forward Dandy Step, this is specific to only the forward Dandy Step, right? If you know that this is what he does, you can't just throw him out of it, right? There is a reasonable gap between the move actually coming out and him doing the Dandy Step. So you could, if I'm just doing this, right, you can just throw him out of it. However, this does fall apart with the inclusion of Pile Bunker. Now, there is some startup frames on your jump where you're not able to block, and Pile Bunker just perfectly hits those frames, and so you can't really hold up back as your solution all the time. However, the throw solution is actually still reasonable, right? Be sure to actually hit this, because if you're late, you're gonna eat a big fat Pile Bunker, and you're gonna be really sad. Okay, you're gonna be really sad. Now, Slayer's answer to this answer, right, is to essentially do the back version of Pile Bunker, or the back version of any of these moves. Say for example, he does the high over here, right? You can't really do any of what I just told you. But another thing I didn't tell you is that there is actually just a mashable gap between both his high and his low. I don't really know how high that gap is, but it's actually pretty high. Like, you can really just mash close slash. Now again, this is really only dependent if you think he's gonna go high or low. If you think that he's gonna do Pile Bunker, don't press anything. Now, another reason why you might want to go for mashing instead of up backing is specifically from this move. So his high, right, his high option does still catch you out of the air. I don't know why, but If you block this move in the air, then he is still plus in your face guard crush, which is not super great. Another thing you could do is just block it, right? I know not like the most prettiest option, right? But you could just guess and block, because then it leaves you +2. Now, admittedly, it's very character specific because you're at this range, and then he's kind of able to do things like this, or even just kind of backdash. And so, like, yeah, you're +2, but you're kind of not +2, and it's really tricky and annoying. But regardless, you are technically plus if you block the move, and therefore it is your turn. In big air quotes. Same thing goes for if you think that he's going to pile bunker. If you think he's going to pile bunker, just block the pile bunker, because if he does not have meter, it's actually a full punish. Yeah, I just get a big giant full punish right here. Now, here's where I'm going to introduce you guys to a higher level of thinking. If you're like, hey Josh, how am I supposed to know when he is going to do either the high or the low or pile bunker? Always look at their meter. If you're paying attention to Slayer's meter over here, right, he is way more likely to do pile bunker if he has meter to RC it. This is just a little quick aside, right? A little quick Slayer tutorial. If you do this and then RC it, you are actually plus in their face with guard crush, which makes his command grab, which is what the frick is it? Which makes his command grab even more threatening, because then it becomes guard crush property, which means your opponent cannot mash, nor can they throw, and therefore they need to ult back knowing that the command grab's coming, in which case you could just do RC into the thing. Whatever, it's a whole thing. We're not going to go into Slayer tutorials right now, but as the defender, it is very, very important that if Slayer puts you in a block string, you need to look at his meter, because he is far more likely. That doesn't mean that he's not going to do it if he doesn't have meter. Some Slayers are sociopaths, or they make a super hard read, right? But he is far more likely to do pile bunker in the event that he has 50 meter. And so rotate between these options, right? So rotate between these options, okay? Which is going to be throwing, right? Up backing, okay, maybe not there, but you know, look, hold on, wait. Certainly it won't happen to 3 times in a row. See, sometimes up back it works, sometimes it works. And mashing. Oh my gosh, not there though. Yeah, see, sometimes it do work. Now, you might be like, well, Josh, like, doesn't that mean I still have to guess? Yeah, you do still have to guess. Oh yeah, the other option that you need to rotate between is to block, okay? But yes, you do have to guess, because Slayer, the pile bunker is specifically designed to cover the other 2 options. That's the way it works, right? It's very high risk, high reward. So sometimes you, as the defender, need to make the read. He's going to pile bunker B, and I might just need to react to the high low. Not necessarily react, but I might just need to guess the high low sometimes. Okay, that's just how the game works. Of course, you can use your get out of jail free card and just do deflect shield, which means that I don't have to guess any of that. I don't have to guess a thing whatsoever. Okay, still leaves you at +2, pushes him back. All right, a decent amount, right? Gives you enough breathing room to get the frick out of dodge. You know what I mean? Get the frick out of there. So with that resolved, right? Rotate between those options. Okay, I believe in you. Sometimes you got to block the mix. Sometimes you just got to run, dog. You remember I was talking about, but sometimes you just got to deal with it. Now, let's talk about Master's Hammer. So many people hate this move because it leaves you -26. -26, brother. -26 guard crush, which is very, very scary, because then he was able to threaten with command grab a lot more reasonably. He's able to threaten with close slash. He's able to threaten with 2K. He's able to threaten with a lot of buttons. And so you really don't want to be blocking this move over and over and over again. And so what can you do? Well, the first thing you can do, right? This is what I recommend, is that you can throw this move. Yes, you can. On the way, okay, look, hold on, I'm trash. On the way down, you can always throw this move, right? There is nothing he can do to stop you from throwing this move. I think there's some very, very specific setups where he's able to make it hit meaty and therefore able to combo off of it, but that's only out of hit stun, and those are very, very specific, and I don't know them. Most of the times, especially if you're just blocking his pressure and he chucks this out there, you can throw this move. I would suggest sitting here and practicing throwing it, okay? The timing is a little funky, and if you miss the timing like I do, like right here, okay? If you miss the timing like this, you're gonna die. So really, really get this timing down. But it is incredibly good at just saying, stop, grab, it's my turn now, enough's enough. Especially since if you just block this move, there's nothing stopping him from just doing it over and over and over again if he knows that you cannot handle it. Another thing you can do, right, is just hit him on the way down. A little bit scarier, but you could realistically hit him on the way down. Now, it is character specific. For example, Abba has absolutely no problems dealing with this move. As soon as I react to the camera shooting up, I'm holding down back anyway. I can press 2S, right? So if you play Abba, you know, you're actually just, you're good eating, right? But you can also just press things like close slash, press things like 5K, right? Press things like, you really don't want to press 6P like that, but it kind of works, you know what I mean? Right? And even then, it's just like, throw out something quick, right? You really want to, like, if you're holding down back, you really want to throw out something fast enough that it's like, oh, I can react to the jump, you know what I mean? So practice doing that as well. And another thing you can do is just hold up. If you see him lunge into the air, it's better to jump than to block this move. Now, that does not mean that you're plus. For the love of all that is good and holy, do not press a button if you jump this move. The reason why is because when he does it, right, he can just mash close slash, and close slash is an extremely good move. Now, if you play Abba, you can just press jump 5D, right? That's also a really good answer, but you know, I play Abba, so it's like, yeah, Abba does really good against this matchup. But say I wanted to come down with a button, right? And I jump like mad late, right? Hold on a sec, I'm godlike. Hold on, wait, I might just be the GOAT. There we go. That's more likely to happen if you up back, especially very late, right? If you do it very early, it's not going to be that much of a problem. But if you do it very late, especially on reaction, right? Right? That's what's more likely to happen. And so I'd prefer to just not do it at all, because the risk reward is so skewed against you that you really do not want to be pressing a button. It's just his turn again, okay? Unless you have a character like Abba or a different character that's able to alter their air trajectory, get the frick out of there, man. Just leave. Go, okay? Do not try to contest them on the way down. You might die. And so now I'm going to teach you guys an option select. If you don't know what that is, you're going to find out, okay? What does that mean? So there is a consistent method of beating his high, low, and his master's hammer. Not Paul Bunker. We're not going to talk about it right now because it's dangerous. But this is the tried and true method of how to deal with all three of those options. Not all four, but all three of those options. Check it out. You see that? See that? Look at that, boy. What exactly am I doing, right? So what I'm doing is I am doing jab throw, okay? I'm doing jab throw, not at the same time, you know, jab space throw, okay? What it does is that if your opponent tries to do the high or the low out of a combo string, you're just gonna jab him out, right? You're just gonna smack him. Stop, halt, enough's enough, okay? And if he goes for master's hammer, you're able to throw him out of it. So I would suggest practicing this if you really have a hard time dealing with Slayer's pressure, right? Practice this, right? Just literally set the dummy to do the high, the low out of a block string, right? Specifically out of this block string that I'm doing, and then just practice this, right? You can also experiment with different buttons, right? I think Abba's 2S just destroys all three options. Like literally, if I see him dandy step at all, I just mash 2S and then like I just completely destroy him. But experiment, right? Experiment with your specific character to see how you can beat all three options. Yeah, see, I was very nice in this matchup. Yeah, I really like this matchup. I just gotta put that out there. Now, of course, as I mentioned previously, Pow Bunker completely stuffs all of that out, but that is very context dependent. You gotta know that they're going to be using Pow Bunker, right? You need to assess their meter. You need to assess the actual opponent that you're facing, because a lot of opponents are different, right? Some of them might like to go for like super hard reads and stuff like that. Sometimes you need to just say, I'm gonna stop and chill because I think he's going to Pow Bunker. So always keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. Lastly, let's talk about if you're dealing with these options mid-screen. So firstly, if you're dealing with his high-low mid-screen, okay, aka if you think he's going to be doing high-low mid-screen, right? All of a sudden, up backing is way stronger because yes, you are still minus if he catches you out of the air, but you're minus and pushed back a little bit, which means that he's not going to be point blank in your face, which means he's not really threatening a strike throw. And if he just goes low, you just completely get the frick out of there. You know what I mean? Like you can just completely and totally get the, you know, just get out of dodge. Right? Just leave, man. Now, when it comes to Master's Hammer, okay, this is where it is way more important to learn how to throw this on reaction. It's way more important because all of the button specific things, right, it is way harder to do. For example, say I want to hit close slash, right? That might have worked before in the corner, right? Look, check this out. That might have worked in the corner, but it won't work now because of the cross-up element to his pressure. Now, of course, I play ABBA, so I can just do this, right? But if you don't play ABBA, it's much more important to learn how to throw this move, okay? Really, really throw it. The thing is that if you're holding down bag anyway, all you need to do on reaction to him jumping is just literally just stand up and throw. Just stand up, throw. It's just 2 frames, man. It's a 2-frame startup. Just stand up and throw, and don't fudge it up or you're gonna die, okay? Just stand up, throw. Don't fudge it up. You're just gonna see him shoot up into the sky and you're gonna throw. Okay, you need to learn this. Of course you can up back, but it is pretty gosh darn scary because you are still minus and he can still freaking kill you unless you jump super duper early and you come down with the button really, really early. Then yeah, you can, but like just be careful. I'm just looking out for you. Just be careful. Okay, just be careful. The last thing that you need to deal with when it comes to dealing with pressure from Slayer mid-screen is his cross-up power bunker, okay? This move is scary, it's terrifying, all right? It's hard to react to, it's difficult, okay? What can you do? So, you can just throw it, right? Honestly, this is the answer I would say, is that you could react to the dandy step and you can throw it. Now, this does come with the risk. If he does use Master Hammer and you're a little late on the throw, he could jump over your throw, smash you, and then you die, okay? It could happen, okay? Next, I would say, is don't mash. Just don't do it, okay? Abba's got a 4-frame jab. It's very, very fast. It's very, very dangerous, okay? Just don't do that. All right, just don't, okay? Just don't, all right? Honestly, really, your only answer is to throw or block, okay? Throw or react. That's it. Those are your 2 options. Throw or react, all right? That's all you got, all right? I'm sorry. I don't have board. And fellas, really? That's all I've got. Now, I've given you some solutions to some of his answers, but all I gotta say is that this move is very, very nuanced, okay? There's a lot of moving parts to it, and not one solution beats all 4 options. I can give you a solution that beats 3 out of the 4 options or 2 out of the 4 options, and it is up to yourself to rotate between those options, right? And of course, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The only option that does beat all of them is, in fact, Deflect Shield. So if you have 50% burst, and you don't want to deal with any of it, just Deflect Shield. But otherwise, sometimes you're gonna have to guess the block. Sometimes you're just gonna have to hold up back. Sometimes you're gonna have to match. Sometimes you're gonna have to check out your character specific options. And please, please, for the love of all that is good, the only thing you can control is reacting to Master's Hammer with a throw. So please start doing that. If I can give you any piece of advice, it is to react to Master's Hammer with throw. Just learn it. Just learn it. Practice it. You're gonna die sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna die. I hate to break it to you. Them's the ropes. Them's the ropes. But I believe in you. Okay? And I'll say a prayer for your next match against Slayer. Amen? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed content like this. If you did, please leave a like. If you didn't, then keep it to yourself. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.